Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to NDR. It's been quite a while since I've made a video. I know I'm sorry, work has gotten crazy and I just haven't had the time. Although I do have quite a few videos on backlog and I hope to get those out as soon as possible, sometime in the coming weeks, probably after the holiday season. What I have in front of me is the newly released Mavic Mini. I'm sure quite a few of you have already seen reviews or unboxings of this unit. But seeing as how my previous video about the Mavic 2 Pro was overall pretty well received, which I do appreciate quite a bit, I decided to make a video about this new drone as well. Now, one of the first things I want to do is deal with the elephant in the room. During the last video that I made about the Mavic 2 Pro, I specifically said that I don't like downgrading my gear. I don't like buying any kind of gear that has a smaller sensor than before. I don't like downgrading frame rates. I don't like downgrading resolution. And yet, here I am doing exactly that with the Mavic Mini. Now, I have to say that I have actually sold the Mavic 2 Pro, and I've sold it for a very good reason, understanding that I'm going to inevitably switch over to this new unit. The thing is that for every drone operator out there, for every blogger or vlogger or any kind of person that uses this equipment, any kind of cameras for whatever personal or professional needs, the equipment that's best for you, that's best for your particular situation, really depends on your end use case. Now, in my particular situation, the Mavic 2 Pro used to be a very optimal drone. One of my friends actually purchased a Mavic 2 Enterprise Edition, which is fantastic for the work projects that I need it for, so I can borrow that from him when I need it. Whereas for my vlogs, my travel videos, and my personal projects, something like this might come in handy a little bit more than the Mavic 2 Pro for a very simple reason. And that reason happens to be the weight of this unit. I'm sure all of you already know the major selling point of the Mavic Mini, and oh my goodness, wow, okay. It's so small. I mean, I knew it was going to be small, obviously. I've seen the ads online and I've seen the photo materials, but it just looks like a toy. It's incredible. Yeah, the reason that I've decided to go with this drone is incredibly simple. 249 grams. What does that mean for me? Well, in Russia particularly, where I happen to live, any drone over 250 grams has to be registered to fly. You have to register as a drone operator, and there's a lot of bureaucracy involved. There's a lot of paperwork involved that I just don't want to have to deal with. Whereas this little unit, it's technically a toy. I mean, until the laws change, at least. But for now, this is realistically speaking a toy. Now, if you need something that's incredibly professional, if you need really high quality video, if your livelihood, if your professional application depends on having the absolute best video quality, then certainly this isn't going to work for you. And the reason that it's not going to work for you, I can say right away without even going into the specifics of the technical aspects of this drone. It's not going to work because it has a smaller sensor size than the Mavic 2 Pro. It has a smaller resolution, 2.7K instead of 4K. It's not as fast. It's not as stable in high wind conditions. So overall, it's not a smaller replica of the Mavic 2 Pro. It's pretty much a worse drone in every single way. But I think it more than makes up for its shortcomings in its weight and its size. Now, let's see, what do we have in the box? So this is the Fly More kit, which I think it makes a lot of sense to buy the Fly More kit right away, especially if you're not paying a premium, if you can find a good price for it online. Just because whenever you get out into the field, it might seem like having a 20-minute or 30-minute, as they say, but realistically it's 20 minutes. It might seem like having a 20-minute flight time is more than adequate, but when you get out into a new location, especially that you haven't scouted before, that time goes by very quickly. So it's good to have a little bit of juice in your reserve. Even if you have one extra battery with you, you'll be very happy that you took it with you. So you have a standard remote. It looks very similar to the remote that the Mavic 2 Pro comes with. Which is nice. I'm gonna really miss the smart controller, by the way, with the Mavic 2 Pro. That thing was fantastic. You have the remote, you have a charger for 3 batteries at the same time, and then you have a little kit with additional goodies. All right, so you have guards for the propellers, which I'm not going to use. I don't remember the last time I had an issue with crashing my drone or anything like that. But it's still something nice to have. Really, you want to buy this kit just because of the additional batteries that are included. All right, so we have a tiny little proprietary new battery, as usual with DJI. And I have to tell you, I wish I could somehow show you through the camera, but the drone just doesn't weigh anything. Like, it feels like it has no weight in my hand without the battery. So the battery is heavier than the drone is. And it's so small, as a matter of fact, that I could slide it into my pocket. There we go. And these aren't especially large pockets either. But it's nice to know that in a pinch, you could stuff it just about anywhere. Anyway, so it's a tiny little drone that's relatively fast, relatively stable, and it has a pretty decent camera on it from all accounts. Again, especially if you believe the marketing by DJI. So I think it should be more than suitable. Again, if you're just shooting B-roll, let's be honest, most people shoot B-roll on a secondary camera. Most people don't have two identical, like, full frame cameras shooting at 4K 60 or whatever for their B-roll. And in that regard, if you only need a drone to shoot those beautiful cinematic aerial shots, but they're not the main content that you produce, then I think that this should be more than adequate. I mean, after all, you're shooting with something that has the same kind of sensor that most modern day cell phones have, so it's a relatively large sensor, and I think it should be more than adequate for shooting really nice looking footage, especially in the daytime, because in the daytime it doesn't matter what you shoot in. If you have two cameras, two modern devices that shoot at the same resolution, it's going to look just as good regardless of the sensor size. Obviously, the 2.7K resolution isn't going to be as punchy. It isn't going to be as crisp and clear as the 4K resolution coming from the Mavic 2 Pro. But again, you have to pick and choose what's more important to you. On the other hand, you get to save a little bit on memory space. So the 2.7K footage out of this drone caps out at 40 megabits per second, I believe. So you're not going to be wasting as much storage space on your memory cards. And you're not going to have to deal with the bureaucracy, because I know in a lot of countries, just like in Russia, you have that 250-gram limit. Obviously, that comes from the United States. In a lot of ways, the legal decisions that the U.S. makes in regards to consumer products like this, they kind of spread around the world very quickly. So I think at least for a little while, devices like this that are capped below 250 grams of weight, I think they're going to allow us to kind of explore the world a little bit without having to deal with bureaucracy. So that's pretty much it. That's the whole reason. There's no better explanation. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, this drone is better than the Mavic 2 Pro, that it's better than even a Phantom 4. It's really not. It's not better than any of those drones that DJI produces. This is at the bottom of the line as far as picture quality is concerned, because again, you're getting 2.7K, but if you're shooting B-roll, you can just bump it up, you can scale it up in Adobe Premiere. And for those of you that are shooting in full HD to begin with, then it doesn't even really matter. If you're shooting in full HD, then this will suit you perfectly. Let's see, once we open up the rear hatch of this drone and slide the battery in, there we go. Now it feels like there's some actual weight to it. And as far as build quality is concerned, this doesn't feel as sturdy as the Mavic 2 Pro. Nah, not at all. This feels very light, very flimsy. It's extremely flexible. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a lot of flex to all the propeller arms. And in general, the body is more or less solid, but the plastic is so thin that you can kind of squeeze it and pinch it, and it does have a lot of give. It does have a lot of flex to it. So it feels like a toy. If you want to know what kind of feeling you're going to get when you hold this drone in your hand, it feels like a copy of a real DJI drone. So it is very flimsy feeling. On the other hand, DJI usually has very good build quality, so I have no doubt that this is going to hold up and it's going to work very well for the purposes that I need it for. And again, since I wanted to keep this video short, I'm not going to drone on much more. I had to do that. I couldn't stop myself. I'm not going to talk much more about all the parameters of the drone because there's really no need to. It's all self-explanatory. So I think what I'm going to do to actually test out the limits of this drone is I'm going to head out to Moscow at night and try to film some really dark scenes, maybe with some of the buildings that are lit up, because a lot of buildings are lit up with neon and LED lights right now. So that contrast should be very good at making the sensor, the tiny little sensor on this drone, go crazy. And plus you're probably going to see a lot of artifacts on the screen as well, again, because it is such a small sensor, and flying in the dark just isn't going to do it any favors. So instead of showing you how great it is, because again, you can watch a bunch of those videos, I'm sure there are a million videos on YouTube right now showing how fantastic the camera quality is, I'm going to show you how bad it can get at night. Because at least you'll know that anything you shoot during the daytime is going to look a lot better than that. And if the nighttime quality is passable for you in any case, then again, this is a drone to get. So I look forward to using this. I look forward to shooting my B-roll with it and taking it with me on my vacations. So this is going to be a good little friend for our family, a nice little drone friend. And it'll take me about a half hour to get into Moscow, but seeing as how, again, we're on YouTube, we can use Magic, so we should be there filming in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and that very same internet magic allows us to get back here in no time and continue filming. So what did you guys think about the nighttime video? Is it fine? Is it passable? Or is it just too grainy to use professionally? If you ask me, then it's not great, but it'll pass, it'll do. And usually you're not flying too much at night anyway. Most of the time these drones are used for daytime video. A couple of things that are worth noting though, which I forgot to mention earlier. If you have a really large sized phone, in my case, the Huawei Mate 20X, which is huge, it's one of the biggest phones on the market, it doesn't fit inside of the controller. I mean, I got it to work kind of, but it's less than optimal in every possible way. So this isn't perfect, and I'm going to be looking for a workaround. On top of that, one of the things I also wanted to mention is that there are actually two models of the Mavic Mini being sold right now. So you have the European Union version, the CE version, and the FCC version. If you're buying a drone that's meant for the Chinese market or for the American market, that's going to be the FCC version. And again, if you believe what you read online, then the FCC version should have more range theoretically. So it has a 4-kilometer range as opposed to a 2-kilometer range for the European version. I went for the Chinese version, which has the unrestricted Wi-Fi. So it's up to you what you choose to go for when buying your drone. And as far as recommendations are concerned, I can say for sure right now that this drone definitely passes all the main checkpoints that I had set aside for a small travel drone. So this is something that, again, anybody can take with them to any country in the world and shoot your video and not have to worry about legal issues, not have to worry about coming across any kinds of problems. So if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you need, then yeah, this little guy is perfectly fine for you. This is the drone that you should buy, that you should go and buy for your loved ones, for your favorite geek. because this really is a fantastic little piece of tech. And if you're a person that already has everything, that already has the bigger drones, this obviously isn't going to replace them as far as quality is concerned, but it'll fit very nicely in your family of tiny flying machines as something that, again, you can grab very quickly on the fly, take with you, and catch those nice little B-roll shots, or even catch your main cinematic shots on a very bright sunny day. So, I mean, those are my 2 cents regarding the Mavic Mini. And as always, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my video, to listen to me talk and share my thoughts. And I do appreciate all your fantastic comments. And I just recently passed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is very nice, especially considering the fact that I've kind of been on hiatus for the past 2 or 3 months, and I haven't been putting any videos out. But again, I do have quite a few coming up, so stick around, subscribe if you like my content. I look forward to talking to you in the future, to answering your questions and comments, and I look forward to seeing you again. So happy holidays to you and your family, and I will be seeing you very soon on another excellent normal day in Russia.